Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This video is about the 5 things I wish I knew about attorneys before becoming a legal assistant. The first thing is attorneys are under a lot of pressure, and when I first got hired at a law firm, the administrative legal assistant told me don't be surprised if the attorneys don't talk to you and just walk past you. As someone who had never even heard of that, I was shocked. I never experienced a workplace where someone, especially my boss, would walk past me without saying hi or being friendly. But sure enough, once I started the job, I had to accept that the attorneys wouldn't say good morning, wouldn't greet me, or even speak to me when they were focused on their work. Something I mentioned in my first video, which I encourage you to watch if you haven't already, is that both attorneys I worked for had files everywhere. Some on the ground, piled on their desks, and even on their chairs where guests would sit in. As someone who really likes things organized in a certain way, that environment was really hectic for me. But here's the reality: attorneys are usually juggling multiple cases at once. If you work in probate, for example, you'll see people calling in who haven't spoken to the attorney in 20 years. And they'll suddenly start discussing personal matters or details from the case, and it can be chaotic. Attorneys often switch between cases throughout the day, and as their assistant, you'll likely have to do the same. I've had days where I was working on multiple cases at once, and it was extremely challenging, especially while working for 2 attorneys. The next thing is that you were relied on more than you think. And when I say relied, I really should say heavily relied on. You're emailing people, drafting documents, keeping up with deadlines, and organizing everything all at the same time. Attorneys heavily rely on you to keep your head on straight and to complete the work you've been assigned. Somehow, I always managed to get it done on time, but honestly, I had to lock myself in and just work. It was mentally draining at times. I was also going to school while working, so my only breaks were working out in the mornings and going for a walk during lunch, either at a park or a museum, and those little moments of peace really help me recharge. There will be times when you're worked to the point where you feel like you can't function, and you need to be prepared for that. Attorneys rely on you for phone calls, communication, and organization. They cannot function without you, so always do your best and be at the top of your game. And that kind of dedication is incredibly valuable, and it does show. The next one would be they will not always teach you how to do stuff. I remember the first time one of my attorneys told me to do something without giving any instructions. He just handed me something and said, go do this. At first I thought, should I go ask him how to do this? I was overwhelmed and I had no idea where to start. But then I remembered something my professor once said during a lecture, and he said, attorneys expect you to read their minds. That moment really hit me, and I felt stuck and unsure of what to do next. And here's the thing, you're not always alone. If you work for just one attorney at one law firm, I look it up online. We have AI for a reason, and if you're not using it already, you're really falling behind, and I'll talk more about that in another video, but seriously, find someone to talk to. For me, it was an up-and-coming attorney, and she was the best person ever. She helped me with tasks, and I helped her make friends professionally and support one another. If someone in your workplace isn't nice to you, you be the professional one. That's on them, not you. Still try to find someone you can ask questions, someone who will help you figure things out. That kind of support can make all the difference. Eventually, though, you want to get to the point where you can read your attorney's mind. By that, I mean learn to interpret their habits, how they like things done, and what they typically expect. And trust me, after a while, you'll get it. The key is to analyze and observe. The 4th thing would be paralegals might work for several different attorneys. I have had to work for 2 attorneys, and I've heard of others who work for 5 or more. Be prepared to handle multiple attorneys if needed. It can happen. If you do, it really helps you develop stress management and organizational skills. If you find yourself working for 2 or more attorneys, my advice is this: learn their habits as soon as possible. Don't assume they are the same or that they like things done the same way. For example, one of the attorneys I worked for preferred uploading documents to the computer a certain way, while the other had a completely different method. One like to use a different paper for letters, small things, but they matter. Just try to find each attorney's rhythm and stick to it. It'll make your life a lot easier and help you support them effectively. The last one would be attorneys expect you to anticipate their needs. You need to have the ability to anticipate the needs of an attorney. That means knowing what documents need to be drafted next, and that won't happen until you understand the processes of civil litigation, probate, and so on. There's a big difference between civil and criminal law, and you need to know that. Working as a court runner and later as a minute clerk helped me a lot. Immersing myself in the court system really taught me how to discern what comes next, and that's a skill you can only build through experience. And I'll be talking more about this in an upcoming video, but the takeaway is you need to get hands-on experience. Another key point I mentioned earlier is you need to understand each attorney's work style, and this is so important. Every attorney is different, and learning how they operate will help you be more effective in your role. Now, here's the real talk that I want to leave you with is that some attorneys, not all, but some, are not nice. I have met many professional and respectful attorneys, and honestly, most of them are women, but I've also worked in environments where I was yelled at, and let me be clear, that is not okay. If you make a mistake, and even a small one, do not let anyone take their frustration out on you. If an attorney is having a bad day, it's not your responsibility to absorb their negativity. Be professional, yes, but stand up for yourself. I worked in a toxic environment and eventually walked out because of how I was treated, and I do not regret it. You do not deserve to be treated poorly. If they don't change, they are not worth your time, period. If you liked this video, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. I'll be going in depth about what a petition is and how to draft one, so stay tuned. So, thank you.